Hi, I'm Lisa Entwistle, founder of Wealthy Living and host of Wealthy Living Radio Show. Through conversations with my guests, my intention is to help you, the listener, to live a life where you can have the knowledge, confidence, and clarity to make choices that support your well-being, both personally and professionally. So we're living in a time where more people are becoming more health conscious. Yoga and meditation have become mainstream practices, and gluten, sugar, dairy-free food choices are commonplace. With the move toward healthier lifestyle, how much importance is being placed on non- or low-toxic living? So in today's episode, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about toxic-free living and what that actually means, where toxins are found, and what are the health risks really to us. And so maybe then we'll discuss some practical tips and things that you can do to live a more natural lifestyle. So to join me in this conversation, I have special guest Nicole Grouch. Nicole is well-known as a hair and makeup artist who only uses ethical, cruelty-free, vegan-friendly brands, often finding herself doing makeup and hair for the likes of Ricky Martin, Lauryn Hill, Kylie Minogue, Tina Arena, Kate Ceberano, Jimmy Barnes, Vanessa Amorosi, and Madeline West. But for nearly 2 decades, she's worked on campaigns to help and end animal testing on cosmetics. But after becoming a mum 12 years ago, she channeled her passion into researching into how to adopt a greener, safer, more organic and humane lifestyle. So she now helps others to follow these same healthier principles through her health and safety blog on livingsafe.com.au and her ebook 10 Easy Steps to Toxic-Free Living. So welcome, Nicole.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, pleasure. It's a really good topic, and as I said in the intro, I think it's really an area where it's probably not getting as much coverage as, you know, healthy foods that we eat or movement that we do or meditation or mindfulness that have all become really big buzzwords and things that are talked about a lot in mainstream media. And I think that the toxic-free living is certainly getting airtime, but I don't know that it's getting enough airtime that people are being proactive in their choices.
I think what it comes down to, toxic-free living is a step that's a little bit harder than just going for healthy food. Toxic-free living means reading labels, being aware of what's in products, knowing to what level those ingredients are actually in the product and whether they're harmful. And it takes a lot of effort, and not everyone's prepared to do that.
Yeah. So when you talk about like toxic-free or low-toxic living, what does that actually mean?
Means limiting your exposure to harmful chemicals that are either in your home environment or just in your day-to-day work. Anywhere you can be, there's things that may be hazardous to your health, and knowing what they are, you're not going to completely omit them because they're everywhere. We live in a Western society where it's surrounded by it, but where we can take pretty easy steps to limit, especially in your home environment, and especially if you have children, limit what you're exposing yourself to in the home. It does take that tiny bit more effort, but you reap the rewards. I mean, it's a healthier home. Yeah,
definitely. And I definitely want to talk a lot about all the different things that we can change in our home, because that will probably be the main part of the conversation that we have today. But before we do that, it's a really topical time, you know, for this interview. We've come straight off the bat of the Australian election.
Not happy.
Yeah, when environment seemed to be the number one issue talked about in a lot of the campaigns leading up to the election. I really wouldn't mind starting there, not necessarily talking about the election outcome.
No, but that's a really good point, because my whole point on that is, and I actually posted on something that today on social media, is that it's short-term. People are thinking short-term. They don't want to make the changes long-term. It's too hard. So short-term gain, long-term failure. And that's what we need to really get our heads around. So the election's a prime candidate for change, but they didn't go there.
Yeah, exactly. So, without making this a political discussion, because I think that's trouble.
Yes.
I'd really like to talk about our actual environment. So, which was something that was on the news a lot, leading up to the election. So our waters and our soils and our air and, you know, how these toxins affect us.
Just our furnishings in our house, what we sleep on, what what your kids play on, everything, what you're brushing your teeth with, all these things have chemicals.
Yeah.
One thing we're not very aware of, that most of the products in our house are the furnishings, your beds, your carpets, your blinds, your couches, they're usually treated with flame retardants, which is a mixture of antimony, arsenic and formaldehyde. These are known carcinogens. They're known toxicity. It's huge. And they're just blanket put into everything unless it's organic cotton, or you're looking for hemp or something like that. So we're being exposed on a daily basis to all these toxins in our own homes. And also another thing that's a huge one in our homes is PVC, vinyl, huge. I mean, you look around, furniture's out of PVC, your fake leather's PVC, your kids' toys are PVC, Barbie's PVC. And PVC is a plastic that there is no safe level of making it, disposing of it, so environmentally it's a shocker. But also it's a plastic that releases dioxins and phthalates, which are, again, carcinogens. And there are options. You don't have to have those sort of things in your house.
Yeah. So when we talk about outside of our house, because I definitely want to come back to those things within our house, and you know that makes a really good point. There's so many things which are a lot harder to control, so we probably can't, like, people aren't probably going to make those sort of changes, but to keep in mind that you're already starting off at at a level before the other little things, which we'll get to. But even in our environment, like our waters and our soils and stuff like that. So how bad is it?
It's pretty dire, not to sound like the gloom and doom, but it is pretty dire. We are living beyond our means. We're depleting everything. We're fixing things with chemicals. We're trying to reestablish things that naturally can't reestablish themselves. So I think it's all about, a big buzzword for me is certified organic. And certification is huge, because for anyone who's going to buy fruit, vegetables, food, whatever you eat, if it's certified organic, you can be sure they've gone to a hell of a lot of trouble to ensure the quality of the food that's grown, that they don't have the pesticides, the fungicides, they're more sustainable, they're healthier for us, they're healthier for the environment. So that's a big key one. And people go, oh, it's more expensive. Slightly more expensive, but no one blinks when they go into the supermarket and buy a packet of Tim Tams for whatever amount of money, but they'll spend 50 cents more on a banana if it's organic. So you have to put into what's important to you. Is your health important? Is your family's health important? Is the future of the planet important? So forego the Tim Tams, spend a bit more money on the organic banana. That's how I see it.
Yeah. And things like our water, is there anything we can do? I mean,
yeah, absolutely. Investing in a proper water filter, I think that's one investment you cannot look past, as just have a water filter that's taking all the fluoride, taking all the chlorine, taking all the things they put into the water out and putting back into, there's water purifiers, like I think, which one, I think mine's called Great Water. I've got one in mind that puts things back into the water.
Like minerals and
all those trace elements. But yeah, not putting that into your system, because we are made up of water. Our bodies are predominantly water. So putting good water back into our bodies, and what we shower in, our skin's our biggest organ. I mean, I haven't gone that far, but people who have compromised immune systems, they should also be looking at filters on their showers. I mean, the average person, no, but there are people that do need to do that.
I would have never thought of that. Obviously think of it with the taps and having a water, like even a standalone water system, but with showers, I never thought of that. And you're right, like it definitely goes within the body and into the body. But I suppose for most people,
step. A water filter for drinking, and start there. Start and get, yes, it's a little bit of an investment, but you're not going to be buying bottled water ever again, which is also great for the environment, because your water's so pure. You'll have your own water bottles to take with you everywhere with pure, great, fantastic water.
Yeah, so true. So let's talk about the home, because I think that there is so many different areas when it comes to our homes, and not just the things that are around the home, like the furnishings, but cosmetics we use, the makeup we use, the our soaps and our sunscreens and our shampoos and our conditioners
our electronic devices, they also emit stuff that we can control by simply turning a modem off at night when you go to bed.
Yeah, exactly. So all of those things, and, you know, our cleaning products and our cookware and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So let's get a little bit more into that, because I think that will help listeners to maybe make some more practical changes, because I don't want to overwhelm people. I don't want it is, I think, this area, and why a lot of people seem to just avoid doing anything is because it just seems so overwhelming when you start to talk about all the amount of things that can be changed.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I really believe that every change is a win.
Absolutely.
And so it doesn't need to be really overwhelming. It might be just 1 week starting off on one little thing and then another little thing and then letting it build up.
Yeah.
But maybe we can talk about, with your expertise and knowledge, maybe how to prioritise what might be more important, less important, what to do first or not to do. So maybe we'll just start with the area which you do so much work in, and that's cosmetics and makeup.
Well, absolutely. Obviously, as you know, I have volunteered for 18 years for the non-profit organisation Choose Cruelty Free. I initially started with, it just has to be cruelty free. I've actually taken that next step when I had my kids and realised it's one thing to protect animals, we need to protect ourselves and what we put onto our skin and how we wash our hair. And the thing to look out for is being aware that avoiding synthetic things, like any of the synthetic things, and a lot of chemical things that we put on our body contain industrial chemicals, industrial cleaning products. So there's a lot of cleaning things. So you need to sort of have a look at the more natural and certified organic, or just more natural. Like, for instance, let's say you're cleaning your house. Get rid of the Jif, get rid of the Ajax, get out some bicarb, get out some vinegar, get out a microfiber cloth. That'll get rid of everything. If you've got mold, a few drops of clove oil with the bicarb and vinegar. That's it. You don't need your mold killers. When you're putting something on your skin, look at the ingredients. If you do not recognise the names of the ingredients, chances are they're industrial chemicals. You want to know that they look like food-grade ingredients. Something, that's coconut oil, that's vitamin E oil, that's kakadu plum extract. That's all quite safe, and you know you're putting a natural product onto yourself. With makeup, you don't want things that have talc in them. Talc can be contaminated with asbestos-like particles. You want to go for more natural products that have your minerals, your pure minerals. You want to stick away from anything that's got plasticizers in it. Perfume's a huge one. So your deodorants, your perfumes, all those sort of things, a lot of them have plasticizers in them to make the fragrance stick. So even your air freshener in your house, if you're buying those Glade or whatever, I haven't bought for so many years, I don't know the names of them, but those ones that synthetic, they have plasticizers in them, so they last and stick to things in your house. So instead of that, go and get some essential oils that you know are safe, especially if you've got pets. Be mindful what you burn in your house if you have pets. Some essential oils are very toxic to animals, but some aren't. So use essential oils. Use those sort of things. Use a bit of eucalyptus oil to freshen things up. You don't need all these synthetic things. So change the synthetic aspect to more natural aspect. If kids and adult women love using lip balms, go and buy something from the health food store. There's one brand from America, I know it's called Hurraw, which is HURRAW. They're like $7 and they're completely natural. And they're fantastic. They come in all different natural flavours. Simple thing like that. Instead of giving your child a Vaseline tube or a Carmex, you give them a Hurraw balm to play with. When you're using shampoos and conditioners, instead of buying Palmolives and your Johnson's & Johnson's, but full of sulfates, look for the ones that have more pure natural ingredients. So what it comes down to is reading labels. So
when you say all this and reading labels, and I understand obviously the choosing the natural products over those products, right? Now, people for years have used Johnson & Johnson baby powder,
which has talc
kids.
in it,
talc. And, you talk about these air fresheners having, what did you say? Plasticizers. And, you've mentioning a few different products or a few different ingredients that can be harmful. But what is actually harmful about it? Like, what does that do to us? What's so bad about it?
Okay, so number one, anything that's like talc can have an asbestos-like particle in it that can give cancers to you, to the ovarian cancers, especially if you're putting it on babies' bums and stuff. Just don't. Breathing in's bad. Your plasticizers and your fragrances, they can have, for instance, perfume. Anyone making a fragrance does not, by law, have to tell you what's in the ingredients because it's a sort of a secret recipe, yeah, so to speak. So it can be hundreds of ingredients. Now, a lot of these ingredients are known. If there's a website called EWG, Environmental Working Group. It's an American site, and if you type in any ingredient, you will be able to see they've done an overall rating of the ingredients. So say it's something that has I'm trying to think of formaldehyde. A lot of things have formaldehyde in it that you wouldn't even dream. Like cosmetics can have formaldehyde in them. It's a preservative. You will see on there, so you type the word formaldehyde in on the EWG website and it will tell you link to organ toxicity, link to neurotoxicity, reproductive toxicity, cancer rating. You need to do the research. My site on livingsafe.com.au, I have a bit of a directory where I have gone through and found companies I know to be safe. I know that they are transparent. They are doing everything they can to stay away from anything dangerous. They're using very safe ingredients. And I think that's what it comes down to. Less is more. Simpler ingredients. Go back to basics. You don't need all these. Like one of the things that really worries me is the amount of makeup out there that are full of chemicals that are all just mixed together. So a lipstick may last you for 2 days. You don't have to reapply. How can that be good for your body? It just can't be. Like something that's not coming off is like a paint. And that sort of thing is a real worry. And so I think just going back to
So what will that do apart from the fact that it might dry out your lips or whatever?
It's a toxin. It's carcinogens. Generally, they all come down to they're carcinogenic and they're hormonal disruptors and they're organ disruptors.
Yeah.
They're chemicals that have been proven in tests to do this. Not only that, we're mixing. We're putting one on top of the other, on top of the other. No one knows that. And I've actually spoken at great length with some of the scientists in the government areas of these sort of things on the phone. I've had some very interesting conversations, and they often say to me, "You're one of the first to ask us this." And I said, "Well, how's this allowed on the shelves?" They said, "Because in Australia, and probably in other countries as well, if it doesn't cause immediate acute harm, no one worries about the long-term exposure and accumulative harm." So things that happen for years of wearing it, you know.
Yeah, and it's very hard to always pinpoint that back with the research because if someone years later got cancer, no one's going to call that back to the makeup that they put on. You know, everyone's going to say it might be due to other things or and it's probably like is a combination of lots of things that lead to cancers and stuff like that. But, you know, from all the different toxins that can be used and you're exposed to. So
you can limit it. I mean, no one can say you're never – look, I had cancer 1.5 years ago and I had my thyroid out and my cancer's now linked to flame retardants. Now, I do now sleep on organic beds. But before that, I was on one of those Tempur-Pedic mattresses, which are toxic foam, impregnated, fire retardant, plastic. And I was in that bed for years and years and years. Who's to know it was that? Who's to know it wasn't when I used to hairdress in a salon and there was so much formaldehyde? No one knows. But the interesting thing is the night I had my operation to remove my thyroid, a report by an endocrinologist in America came out. She did a study on 70 people with my type of cancer, 70 without. The one correlation was most of them were women around my age. I'm 48. Most were late 40s. And what they found was the fire retardants in the dust particles in their vacuum cleaner was the one binding thing putting everyone together that had the cancer.
Wow.
Bit scary.
Yeah, it is really scary. And look, obviously we don't want to put a whole lot of fear into people, and it's more about, you know, what can we actually do to change some of our habits. And it seems that there are a lot of simple things that people can do But for whatever reason, it just seems to be an area where people go, it's fine. My mum used that for years. She was fine. She's living to whatever. And, there's a lot of excuses that people can make.
Yeah.
It, I suppose, just comes down to habit and change. And a lot of people find habit and change quite difficult and resist it.
So I think the starting steps is to just, number one, when you go into the supermarket, don't pick up, like I was saying before, don't pick up the Jif or the Ajax or the Rexona. Look for the more natural one. Pick up the bicarb, pick up the vinegar, pick up some microfiber cloths. When you're going to buy your shampoo in the supermarket, instead of going for the Palmolive or the Clairol or the L'Oreal, there's EcoStore, which is a New Zealand brand which is so sustainable, and they take out all the toxic stuff. There's a lot of things that are, like, I have a list on Living Safe. Choose Cruelty Free have a list, but Choose Cruelty Free, again, you do need to look because it's only about animal testing, but they do have a lot of ethical brands. People that generally care about animal testing, generally, the smaller brands care very much about human safety and the environment.
Yeah.
Not the bigger brands, but the little boutique ones, absolutely. So support the little guys. Spend that little bit more and support those guys trying to make a difference. Go on to sites like Living Safe. Go on to other sites. Read. My book, 10 Easy Steps to Toxic-Free Living, is such an easy read. It's basically tells you situations like what is in your home and how to avoid it. No one's saying don't give your kids toys, but don't buy them PVC toys. You buy them something else. There's so much choice now. We're spoilt for choice. Like I said, with EMF. Okay, everyone's going to have EMF in their house. But at night you go to sleep, turn the modem off. Do not charge things in your bedroom. You're going to buy new sheets. Instead of buying sheets from Myers, go online, buy some organic cotton sheets. Know you're supporting fair trade, you're supporting the environment, and you're promoting a healthy sleeping environment for yourself and your family.
Yeah.
It's not hard. Open windows, another thing. Open your windows, let fresh air into your house regularly. That is that's one thing we don't do. We put the windows down, we have central heating, we have aircon. No fresh air is getting into the house. We're breathing stale air, the off gases from all the furniture. Just open a window. Same with new cars. If you're going to get a new car, for the first 6 months, even if it's cold, put the heating on, but keep the window open so it can off gas. You can let out most of the harmful stuff when something is new. So with furniture too, let it air. Everything airing is like, the environment gives us such a natural thing. UV light kills a lot of things. Air releases a lot of things. Air. That's key.
Yeah.
And that's easy.
And what about plants, indoor plants?
Indoor plants are fantastic, but use organic soil. So don't.
Why?
Because, again, the soil could be full of pesticides, fungicides, whatever. You want organic soil. Get it from Bunnings. It's cheap as chips. Just like make those little steps, little tiny steps, and you'll find, like, it's really weird. Like, I can walk into someone's house now, and because I have never had PVC plastic crappy toys in my home, I've always bought quality toys for my kids when they were little. And you walk into someone's house who goes into whatever, Target came out and buys all the cheap stuff. You can smell it. It's like, I don't know if anyone's ever walked into those cheap shoe shops. There's a smell. That's PVC. That is toxic as anything. So be mindful, be more aware. It's not hard to make little baby steps. Like, start small. Start from your local supermarket. There's a lot of choice there in the local supermarket. That's the first step, I think.
Yeah, and I do like this idea of plants actually, because I think a lot of people go with trends, not necessarily things that are less toxic, but actually just going with styling trends. And
plants are very in.
That's right, and plants are very in. So why not take advantage of the fact that it's what stylists are putting out there?
And they clean the air for you.
That's right.
So, plants are a great starter. So, I would say absolutely. I think that's fantastic. And bring in herbs. Bring in edible plants.
Inside?
Yeah, why not?
Do they grow inside?
Some of them do, yeah. You look, I'm not a expert in that, but you go to Bunnings or any garden place and they'll tell you which ones you can grow inside. But you're also getting stuff you're growing yourself in a little bit of organic soil. You're getting healthy stuff in the air. You're giving back. I think that's really, really great. And I think when it comes to makeup, Just look for more natural chemical-free makeup, mineral-based, talc-free, paraben-free, artificial fragrance-free. One of the biggest things we can do for our health is clear away artificial fragrances because, again, as I said before, we have no idea what's in them.
So does that probably includes for a lot of people that don't even think about it, like the things they might put on the edge of toilets so that they can,
Shocking.
That sort of stuff.
Shocking. Yeah.
And toilet sprays
and your deodorant, your perfume, your toothpaste. I'm a big believer in using natural products because especially kids will swallow. You're not meant to swallow. If you read any of the big brand toothpaste, it will say do not swallow.
Yeah, it's like poison.
It's poison, do not swallow. Kids will eat the stuff. They swallow it and they're flavoured for kids. So especially when they're little. Yes, there's an argument about, like, it's funny because I went to my dentist the other day and he said, will you use fluoride? You've got all this, and you need all this work and that work. And I said, no, it's animal tested and it's not healthy. What about this other thing that has a milk casein thing to stop? I said, no, because I'm vegan. Okay, no. He said, well, it comes back to basic. If you're not going to do that, you need to floss. You need to floss twice a day. That's something we all don't do. So he said, if you floss twice a day, you can use your natural toothpaste because you're manually removing the bacteria. So there's no need for us to have all those toothpastes and stuff if we look after ourselves.
So does the natural toothpastes, aren't they good enough on their own? Like, what don't they have in it that are not removing?
What they do, they clean the teeth, they don't get between the teeth. And so what Colgate and all these other ones do, they put a coating in your mouth that stops the bacteria sort of multiplying if you don't clean that well. So the trouble is, yes, it is good for your teeth. I'm not denying that, but it is shocking for your body. It is a toxin to the brain. Fluoride is just not healthy for you.
No.
And we know that.
And it's in our water as well.
It's in our water, so a filter gets rid of it. A good filter, not a Brita filter from the supermarket. That's not going to remove fluoride. You need a proper filter. But as far as toothpaste, floss, get back into it. I hate flossing, but I floss now because I think, okay, I'm not prepared to put poison in my body. I'm not prepared to use animal-tested toothpaste. So what's my option? I have to floss. So, it's an extra 30 seconds with floss every night, every morning. It's annoying, but you get used to it. Once I remember doing a meditation.
Well, it's quite ritualised, really.
It's ritualised, and there's easier ways of doing it now. But I remember a meditation teacher I went to once who was actually scientifically based, pain medicine doctor. He said it takes 30 days to form a habit. So anything you're doing, if you floss for 30 days, it'll become a habit. You'll just do it. Simple.
Yeah, I mean, I actually don't mind flossing. I find the whole thing quite,
well, you can come and floss my teeth. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, so I mean that's really good. There's some of those examples that you've given so far on some of the cleaning products and cosmetics and things around the house are really helpful. And I think the only thing that I'm wondering with some of those things is the labelling, because that can become really confusing because the word organic is now
non-toxic.
And non-toxic. They've become buzzwords that people are using in their branding, but it seems to be no regulation around that.
There's one article I've actually written quite a bit on the issue of non-toxic labelling. For example, there is no one checking in Australia or America, and I've looked into it. I've researched heavily. No one checks the term non-toxic. Anybody can put non-toxic on their product. It means nothing. You can go into a $2 store and buy a toy, says non-toxic. It means absolutely nothing. The only way you can be sure that something is being checked is if it has, for instance, a toy, you will see a C and an E on it. That means it's been checked by the government standards. If it doesn't have that on it, I wouldn't even touch a toy that doesn't have a C and E stamp on it, because non-toxic means nothing. Organic by itself means nothing if it does not have a certification logo saying certified organic, because it might mean that 1% of that product is organic, the rest is full of chemical crap. Certification organic means they've gone through a huge process where they've been checked every step of the way, from the growing to the production to the putting it on the shelf, has to meet a criteria. That is hardcore. People think it's not. I've looked into this. It is hardcore. Like for a farm to go into an organic conversion takes about 4 years.
Yeah.
And they are checked and audited and tested. The soil's tested. The product's tested. It's not.
Yeah, there are farms which actually don't use pesticides and are organic, but they just can't afford to pay for the certification.
Correct.
So it's unfortunate.
Farmers markets, it's a little bit different. I think, if you go to a farmers market, there's an element of honesty and trust at these, that everyone's trying to help each other out. So I think you talk to the people, you ask them, but when you're buying in the supermarket,
totally.
Certified organic, or don't touch something that says organic if it doesn't have certification on it. Because there's a reason certification's there. It's the same as non-toxic versus CE labelling for toys and electrical goods. If it doesn't have some sort of safety regulation and check, it's the same for Choose Cruelty Free. We certify companies by a 4-page legally binding questionnaire. It is not simple to get on. We don't charge to get on, but they have to fill in right to their raw ingredient suppliers. So a company saying, I don't test on animals, or we're against animal testing, or putting some random bunny logo is clever marketing, and it's a loophole that they've hidden behind, means nothing. You need to trust that these companies, a lot of people go, oh, it's just marketing, these, certifications marketing, this is marketing. It's actually not. It's people that care enough, like myself. I get nothing. 18 years I've volunteered for Choose Cruelty Free. I don't get a cent, but I care enough and I know the process. We are not getting paid to do that. So the same with a lot of these organisations that certify things, they're working hard.
Yeah, amazing. So there was something else I was actually going to ask you to do with those labelling. Oh, when you mentioned those about the what about the cleaning products? Like you mentioned the CE for the toys and the certified organic. What about the cleaning products?
There's nothing for cleaning products. Bizarrely, there's nothing. You just need to know what you're using, what the ingredients are. So again, go and check out sites like mine, like Living Safe, and there's other people doing it that are looking into ingredients. Do a bit of Googling, because if you look up safe cleaning products, you'll find so many articles. Don't just buy off the supermarket shelf, because they don't care. It's industrial cleaning, and it's not medical grade, and it's not for human consumption. So again, all they need to put on it, harmful if swallowed, toxic, beware, keep out of reach of children, and they've covered themselves from lawsuits just with those wordings. So you cannot trust that. One thing I've learned through it's March 2011, so how many years? 8 years I've been doing Living Safe. No one is caring about the consumer. It's dollar equals getting on the shelf equals selling equals wonderful. That's all they don't care about us. So we need to care about us. We need to take those extra steps. We need to not be lazy. We need to go back to what our grandparents did. They sourced their ingredients. They made things from scratch. Not everything's packaged. They cleaned. They put a bit of elbow grease into their cleaning. They didn't expect to spray something and have it magically disintegrate everything. You've got to wonder what that is.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of cleaning products have industrial automechanic degreasers in them that are designed for the automechanic industry. And you're putting it in your home where you clean where your food is and where your kids brush their teeth, or it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But we can change it. It's not doom and gloom, because there's such easy things to change. They really are easy. I've done it. I'm just a normal person, and I've done it, and I don't find it hard, and I don't even blink now. And I know a lot of other people who have done it. There is people are becoming more proactive. People are caring more. The internet's been great for a lot of this, because we've been able to look and find things we didn't know. Same with cookware. All these non-stick things that scratch.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get on to
Yeah,
next.
not great, because if you scratch it, it's leaching out. Go back to stainless steel. Glass and stainless steel. Safest things you can cook in. And also ceramic, like your Pyrex is very good, and your Le Creuset, I can't say that.
Yeah, Le
properly.
Creuset.
There you go. That's also very good, but it's very expensive. So go back to stainless steel and glass.
Yeah, or like those iron
Yeah,
pots,
and it will stick, and you're going to have to scrub if it gets, stuck on the stainless steel. But that's life. Life isn't meant to be simple in every single way. We have to work a little bit for our health.
Okay, so I just want to go and maybe suggest something on those lines. If somebody does have Teflon pots or Teflon pans or non-stick pans that they're using, because a lot of people do have that, because it does make cooking so much easier.
Correct.
Is it okay while there's no scratches?
The school of thought on that is yes, while there's, it's not great, but it's not so bad. So they're saying if it's not scratched, once it's scratched, piff it.
Yeah, so that's the key.
That's
like if that's what you've got in your house now, don't go and don't go and chuck it all out and buy new stuff.
But if it's scratched, don't use it.
Yeah,
just don't use it because it is leaching. And the same with anything like, there's so much your melamine. A lot of people use melamine now, like that. It's not plastic and it's not bamboo and it's not glass. It's that.
Oh yeah, melamine. Yeah,
melamine.
Yeah.
So that's not great for you either. So it's just not a healthy. It's a plastic again that's got all these different things in it, and you want to steer clear of those things. And it's not hard to go back to just porcelain. It's not expensive. So,
no, I think it's just maybe doing things in moderation. Like those melamine plates are great if you've got a picnic.
Correct, picnic, but it's not day-to-day eating.
No,
and
because a lot of the kids, I think a lot of families use plastics and melamines for their kids. There is a safe
plastic, and this is one thing I've told everybody. The plastics that are safe, maybe not so much for the environment, but safe for humans are the number 5, number 1, number 2, or number 4.
How do you know what?
Okay, number 5 is polypropylene. That is inert. It will not leach. And a lot of like your plastic cups, your Tupperware, all your like decor, they're all polypropylene. They don't leach. They're quite safe as far as plastic goes. So that's okay. Your number 1s, your number 2s, they're your peats,
yep.
And they're quite safe. And your number 4 is also a high density. I think it's also a polyethylene. They're also safe. Your number 3 is PVC. Anything with 3 you do not want to touch because PVC is toxic to everything. Number 6 can be polycarbonate, and number 7 and above, or styrene as well, number 6. Number 6, 3, and 7 and above, you don't know what the plastics are, 7 and above. It could be anything. They're a mix of all these new age plastics. Steer clear of them. Most of the stuff, if you look for the number 5, 1, 2, and 4, you're fine.
So when you say look for the numbers,
it's underneath. It's always, if you turn. So, okay, this is another thing a lot of people get confused with. The arrows you see, those 3 little arrows, the plastic symbol, that doesn't mean recycled.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't. It just means it's plastic.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so you cannot recycle number 3 and you cannot recycle number 6 and 7 and above, but you can recycle 1, 2, 4, and 5. So my little trick is PVC, number 3, keep it free. Like, so I just do little word plays, but just number 5.
So it has numbers on it?
Yeah.
Every plastic has numbers on it?
90% of food grade stuff and toiletries and food packaging will have a number on it. If it doesn't, and it's in the triangle usually, it's got to be in that plastic triangle. So if the plastic triangle has no number in it, you don't know what plastic it is. If it has a number in it, you'll know it's number 5, it's polypropylene. Number 1, it's peat. They can be recycled, they're safer. Again, number 1 and number 2 plastics, the water bottles we all drink from, they're not long-term use. They do start to break down and leach. They're one-term use. Polypropylene is something you can use over and over again. So a lot of the water bottles you buy for kids' school things, the decor ones, they're polypropylene. You can reuse them quite safely. So the plastics are an interesting one. Because a lot of people just go, it's plastic, I can recycle it, I can use it. No, you can't. And there's not much information about that.
And obviously environmentally it's
shocking.
Terribly.
Yeah, and that's another thing. You cannot throw soft plastics into your recycle bin. They will not take it. But there is a new program called Red Cycle, which a lot of Woolworths and Coles and supermarkets have it. You go onto the Red Cycle website and you type in your postcard and it will tell you which of your supermarkets in your area will take all your soft plastics. So your chip packets, your biscuits, your frozen vegetable packets, your plastic bags that anything came in. They don't go in your recycling bin. They will not take it, but they will go in these Red Cycle bins. So you're doing your part for the environment. And it's amazing, actually, because you will actually find at the end of a week how much plastic we actually accumulate is frightening because you're putting it into a bag to take and you've got a bag full of plastic that normally we wouldn't even blink. We'd just throw it in the bin or the recycle bin. So, and they are now recycling that into
that's
furniture.
A real eye-opener to type of living that you do. And, I mean, that's probably a really good start for people as well is, yes, go and change some products, But maybe even before you do that, just to give you the motivation to do it.
Something good, yeah.
Actually realize what you're actually doing.
Yeah, it's really, really quite a simple thing to do, and it makes you feel good. When you start to do these things, you actually feel really good about yourself. You feel empowered because the world is so toxic and we hear so much. But if you're doing something in your own little world that you know is good, it gives you a sense of wellness and happiness, and you feel good about yourself. And that's a great thing, and that's powerful.
Yeah, and I mean, and that goes back to what when I, talked about the introduction of talking about a lot of these things of where we are right now in the election and the result of that. And again, not going to get into the the outcome of that. No. But one of the things for people that do feel that the outcome wasn't necessarily a positive one for them, it comes down to, all right, well, you've got to take that individual capacity to do what you can do.
And never feel you can't make a difference.
That's right.
Every single person can make a difference. I often say we would not have organic in the supermarkets now, certified organic, if people hadn't put the pressure on for it. Every petition you sign, every time you ask, every time you go to a shop counter and say, do you have this in organic, or do you have this in vegan, or do you have it in cruelty-free? They're hearing consumers have huge power for change.
Absolutely.
And we all need to realize that and not turn around and go, I can't make a difference on one person. Gandhi was one person. Nelson Mandela's one person. Jane Goodall's one person. One people make huge change because it all equals up to a bigger change. So
absolutely. And in the end, like in all these shops or all these retail places, like you were saying before, how originally their choices of stuff is based on making money.
Yeah.
Part of making money is actually pleasing the consumers.
Correct.
So more consumers that actually complain or not even complain but request for certain products, they're going to try to accommodate that.
And use your voice. Email companies. If you're interested in a cosmetic and you're not sure if they're safe, say, why have you got that ingredient in there? I've heard it's this way, that way. The power of consumers is huge. If you email your companies, why is this not organic? Why are you using that ingredient? Call them out on what they're doing. The more of us that call them out, the change happens and it starts to roll. And the biggest movement to see that happening right now in actual time is the vegan movement. It is huge. I mean, forget that I'm vegan. You can now get vegan magnums. You can get vegan cornettos. You can get vegan this, vegan that. Domino's has vegan pizza. Because consumers have asked for it. Individuals have said, I want it. And they've gone, oh, not one, not 10, hundreds are now asking.
Well, it's the same thing with gluten-free.
Correct. And yeah, exactly.
There's gluten-free everything now because that's what there's been a consumer call for.
And imagine if we all went around going, I'm not going to ask because it will never happen. You can't have that mindset. We can change and we all can change. So I think, start small. Look at my website because it's a free website. I'm not getting anything out of it by saying that, but it's a free website. But I've got so much information for people who don't know where to start. They're simple, easy to follow articles, giving you, I tell you what can happen, but I also give you a solution.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I think that we've covered quite a bit. I think we've covered a bit to do with the environment. We've covered to do with, cosmetics and makeup and lotions and cleaning products and... we didn't really talk about laundry detergents.
Well, laundry detergents is the same thing.
It's
the same thing. Eco Store is what I use at home. Organic Formulations is another one. There's quite a few. Instead of softener, which is full of fragrances, put a half a cup or a cup of white vinegar, which is like $1.19 a litre and a half from the supermarket. Put that in. That will soften your fabric. No, it goes away immediately. But it cleans everything and it freshens everything. Your shoes are smelly? Go and put a bit of bicarb. Sprinkle some bicarb into your shoes. Anything that stinks in your house, sprinkle bicarb. If your carpet smells, sprinkle bicarb. Leave it for about half an hour, vacuum, the smell's gone. But, deodorant. There's a lot of natural deodorants around there, aluminium-free deodorants. I find they work for a bit, then don't work, but I've found something that does work, and that's I use pure magnesium oil, which you can get health food stores, and I put a couple drops of peppermint oil. And I use that. I put it like a few squirts of magnesium oil, a couple drops of peppermint oil, put it between my palms, pat it under my armpits, and I find that works better than any natural deodorant.
Wow, that's great. Any other little hints like that around other things?
What else? Let me think.
Can you use cleaning products just like water, like even spray for the like bathroom? Can you just put water with a couple drops of an essential oil?
Yeah, clove or eucalyptus or tea tree. Use those three because they're antibacterial and they're disinfecting.
So eucalyptus, clove oil?
Clove oil, eucalyptus or tea tree. Those three oils are the ones. Clove's great for mold. Tea tree is antiseptic. Eucalyptus is antiseptic. They're great. Vinegar kills a lot of things as well. So just vinegar. And a lot of people don't like the smell of vinegar. I get it, but it doesn't last for long. Vinegar is fantastic for cleaning mirrors and shining things up. And for instance, another thing I do, if something's caked in stuff, like you cook something and there's all this burnt stuff, you can put salt in hot water and let it sit overnight and that will get rid of it, or bicarb in the water with hot water and let it sit overnight, and the next morning it's really easy to wash off.
Awesome.
Yeah, and bicarb on stains as well on your clothing. Bicarb and vinegar, scrub out a stain on your clothing, let it sit for a bit, put it in the wash.
Amazing. Because I think that, that probably saves money too.
It's so cheap. It's so cheap. Bicarb and vinegar.
Because we all think natural, we'll do natural, we've got to spend more money. But actually, if you just be a little bit creative,
yeah, it's cheaper.
And spend that little bit of time maybe putting aside and doing some, some creations in some bottles of some different stuff that you can create yourself. Well,
I've got an article on that, on Living Safe, how to clean using I've got a few articles, I think. One, how to clean using bicarb, how to clean using eucalyptus oil. It's really easy and you'll never look back. It saves you so much money. Huge amount of money.
Amazing. Amazeballs. Exactly. So before we wind up, I just want to quickly go over again a little bit more about the health risks for people, not just basing it on the cancer, but other things which I've thought about that maybe people can relate to more. Because sometimes with cancer, people just can't get around their head to think that it's a real problem. And if people are going to make some of these changes that we've suggested today, I think that if we can relate it to why is it really that important and the health risks, so things like rashes, things like eye problems and burns and
asthma and
system,
eczema and dermatitis and even things like autism and things like that.
So we're seeing so many behavioural issues in kids and, things from ADHD to focusing problems to all these headaches or different stuff like that is the way that the toxins that are in either toys or skincare products or household goods possibly causing some of these poisons.
But some of it's not possible. Some is plausible. It's been proven. Others, yes, it is possible. Others, it's a combination of everything. Too much exposure. Your body is a machine. If you overload the machine or you put the wrong fuel or apply the wrong things to it, it's going to break down. Your body can only take so much. So if you minimize what you're exposing your body to, your brain is going to be healthier, your skin's going to be healthier, your organs are going to be healthier. Forget the cancer aspect. You will breathe better. You will feel more energized. You will sleep better. It's like a lot of people, even with the the mobile phones, they're talking about this dirty mobile phone issue where people are having EMF sensitivity. They're not sleeping well. They're getting headaches. They're getting earaches. This is so simple to fix by just turning devices off. Children should, giving the children a clean room to sleep in. We spend so much time in our rooms asleep. More than anywhere else, that's our room. So that should be the one part of your house that you make the cleanest and the most purest. So you don't have a TV in your room. You don't have anything near your head like a clock radio. If you have a clock radio, it's across the room. You don't have mobile phones in your room. You don't have computers in your room. Anything that's electrical, you turn off at night. And that will give people so much more ability for their sleep to rejuvenate their body, let it heal, let it relax, because we're exposing ourselves enough during the day. So if you keep your room healthy, that's your chance for your body to heal overnight as much as it can to cope with the next day. So that's a big thing. And just little things like that. Yeah, the less you compromise your immune system, the less you apply to your skin that's chemical that could give you a rash, the better it's going to be. One of my favourite things to use at the moment is colloidal silver. And yes, there's no proven articles on it. You get it from the health food shop, and I use it for everything, as a disinfectant, as to treat pimples, sore throat, eye thing. A lot of people go, it's hippie, 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 yet a lot of medical people are now putting silver into Band-Aids, it's a healing thing. It's not harmful. Use that instead of all your chemical things, instead of, often people will go for strepsils when they've got a sore throat. Strepsils are full of crap. They're full of toxic crap. Spray some silver in your throat, or gargle with some manuka oil, or, something, not manuka oil, sorry, manuka honey. There's things you can use that are going to have the same effect, and mark my words, a few years from now, it'll be a pharmaceutical thing that they're all jumping on the bandwagon. Vitamin C used to be something no one recommended. Now it's medically proven. Yeah. Vitamin D used to be something no one recommended. Medical people now say you must have vitamin D. Just because it hasn't been proven scientifically doesn't mean it's hogwash, because a lot of these big things that they have to prove scientifically take a lot of money to fund these big scientific experiments where they need placebo. The studies are hugely expensive. So it doesn't mean it doesn't work yet. Yeah. It just means it hasn't been studied.
Yeah, and even if there is a slight risk, it's such a smaller risk than the risk they're actually doing with the harmful chemicals.
Yeah, like antibiotics or colloidal silver. If my son gets a throat infection or my daughter gets a skin thing, I'll spray that, and the chances are, if you have heaps of colloidal silver, your skin might turn blue. And I'm talking litres a day. A few sprays to kill the bacteria, I'd rather give them that than antibiotics that are going to kill off everything in their immune system and cause problems for everybody with the overload of antibiotics we're having. That's a last resort. I will go there, but I have found the silver works each time.
Yeah.
And it's simple.
Awesome. So I think that we've covered a lot. And, we could probably go even deeper, but I think that it's enough information. There's a lot of information. So I think for everyone, what's really important is that you do your own research.
Yes.
Start with the simple stuff. Start with the really simple things, the easy things to change, things that aren't going to cause you more overwhelm, because I think if it causes a whole lot of overwhelm and stress, that's just as dangerous as everything else.
Yeah, stress is
That's right.
For you,
so I think that if you can keep it simple if you do shop at supermarkets and you don't want to go to the health food store, or you don't want to get online and start ordering things, then maybe just look for the better options in the supermarket. Yeah. There was that brand that you just Eco Store that is a pretty safe brand when it comes to things.
Get your bicarb, your vinegar.
Yep, and your labels and
try and buy certified organic in the supermarket.
Yeah, so start there, and then once you start getting the pattern of wanting to do more, go online, go to Nicole's website, have a look at the articles that she's written on all the different areas, go to those other sites that we talked about, and start doing your own research. And if you are finding that you do have kids and they are having behavioural problems or skin issues or eczema or asthma, then maybe it's time to actually consider some of those things too, not Band-Aid it with cortisone creams and medication till you've tried the other things. First eliminate, then if there's no result, then you use conventional. I'm a big believer in mixing the two. Yep.
But know you're doing the best you can and giving it every chance first before you just put chemicals onto your body that may not be doing much good for the rest of your body.
Exactly. Well said. So thank you everybody for listening today. I'm Lisa Entwistle. I'm an integrated life, clarity and wellbeing coach, a workplace wellbeing consultant, event facilitator and host. So if you want to find out a little bit more about my services or any upcoming events, you can visit my website at wealthyliving.com.au, or you can connect with me on my social media channels. If you have enjoyed this episode, I'd love you to subscribe, rate and review the show on iTunes so that it can reach more people. So thanks again for coming in today, Nicole.
Thank you really very much for having me. I really appreciate that I was able to get this info out to more people.
Yeah, it's brilliant. You're a wealth of knowledge. So until next time, remember, just go slow and every change is a win.